has done that already, where the headlamp batteries are recharged using cycle power, stationary cycle power, and it was developed by an Indian sitting in London. And these are units which are being now operated in some of the sub-Saharan African countries.
So we've had a
what he is talking about is more sub-Saharan Africa. I don't think they have an obesity problem. I think the energy is more here than there. We have to find a way of getting there. Yeah. Incidentally, when I introduced myself, I lied a bit. We also are fairly seriously involved in coal. So in a way, we've invested both in coal and in wind. And also in biomass. So in a way, I have an interesting kind of position that we have actually investments in all these areas, either as contractors or as owners. But my answer is that I would invest in nuclear. I think the only baseload solution long term is nuclear. I do not believe that any of the renewable sources, wind, biomass, is going to come up with a baseload solution in the near future. Storage technology, all very nice and fine, dandy. But I think unless we do something very, very massive on the nuclear side, we are going to be in a fairly deep hole, and a deeper hole than we already are in. Coal is good. Coal is great. I agree with Professor Kolar. We are going to be living with coal for the next 100 years. We're going to be starting to use coal not just for energy. We're going to go back to using coal for chemical synthesis. In fact, I recently dusted out some very ancient chemical engineering textbooks where we're talking about the gasification, synthesis, Fischer-Tropsch, and things like that. I think that's going to be back sooner or later. But for power generation, I think the only solution is nuclear.
So from the 7 panelists, we have 8 solutions, ranging from reduced consumerism to portfolio to coal to nuclear to biogas to adipose tissue. So I think it's great to hear these solutions. I think I'm overshooting my time. So this is a very last, very quick 30 seconds per person type of question. But before that, I have to say that in chemical engineering, we've long considered giving 3 credits to BTech students to pedal something that will generate electricity for all our labs and offices for 3 credits. And that may be a better use of their time as well. So the last 30 seconds per person, I'm going to request just a very quick message to current day IITians, what they should be thinking about. We'll go from this end of the table this time.
I don't think there are any current day IITians around here.
We'll convey it to them.
No, I think, frankly, energy or otherwise, it's an interesting time to be an engineer. It's always been an interesting time to be an engineer, and I think we've got lots of stuff happening. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't pretend to be a wise man with a long beard to be able to tell people what they should do. But I think do whatever you want to do, and it'll make sense if you wait long enough.
This is a really tough one. I think a couple of things. One is the speed of change in society and is so incredibly rapid, and it's so non-linear now that people have to be accepting that they have no clue on what's going on. I think the first thing is actually acknowledging and recognizing that you don't know, because then there's the possibility that you may learn. I don't really have anything else. And maybe cycle a little more.
I thought I'll use this opportunity and in the spirit of alumni to say that, look, there are schemes, I'm sure there are in India too, but Singapore wants to be a hub for a variety of things, including energy management and R&D. So those among you who've got ideas or have got a need to try and target, I think there is money there which is available for helping you develop and then productionize. And I'm more than happy to be that conduit to set up the connections, etc. So I'd like to sort of make that offer here to whoever's interested.
Preeti, you specifically asked for IITs. IITs are Indian Institutes of Technology. But I think most of us are now doing just research in engineering sciences. I would like to propose that all IITs have, in terms of energy, directed research at technology development, indigenous and innovative technology development towards energy and environment. I think not enough work is being done in this direction. A lot of fundamental research maybe, but really no technology development. Unless we do that, in 2035, we will be importing fuels. Almost 500 million tons of coal will be imported in 2035. 1.5 billion tons of coal will be used and imported technology. And for our high ash coal, nobody is going to develop that technology. We have to develop. I think that is missing. That is, ask me what is the message? Develop indigenous technologies for all energy sources. Thank you.
I think that it's never been a more exciting time to carry out innovation in India. The climate is right, the challenges are immense, and the information is beginning to be available. More importantly, we can have a discussion like this, where we can have a lot of a peer discussion with extremely well-informed people, and this is, I always keep telling the young people I work with, I wish I was 20 years younger. This is the most exciting time to carry out innovation, create an enterprise in India, irrespective of what anyone else may say.
Yeah, I think I'd pick up on what Professor Kolar and Srikumar have said. Two things I'd say. One is, if coal is going to be around for a long time, then let's work on technologies to handle the CO2. Sequestration is clearly one. We're doing one of the largest sequestration projects in Australia. And the second one would be, can you do something with the CO2? It's a stable molecule. Can you fix it into a suboxide? Do the research to deal with the CO2 so you can change coal into clean coal. The second one would be, based on what Srikumar has been saying, what can you do with algae and sea-based systems, right? You're surrounded by the sea. If you can grow plants in the sea, and it's very long term. It's 30, 40 years out. But I think that's the other possibility outside of nuclear that I see that we could do much more research on. The US isn't doing a whole lot in that area, in either one of those areas.
So my advice to the current IIT students would be, take a lot of humanities courses. And I think you will be thankful for that when you get out.
That's pretty much all I had planned. Hopefully not taken too much extra time. It's been really a wonderful privilege to share this space with all of you all. I have learned a lot, even if the other younger IITians are not around. It's been wonderful interacting with all of you. From the bottom of my heart, I'd like to thank you for sharing your thoughts and being so patient with me. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, gentlemen. Well, that was a very interesting discussion. I would like to now invite 77 batch on stage. Yeah. I request 77 batch to kindly come on stage. Now I request 72 batch to kindly come on stage.
Does somebody from the 77 batch want to say a few words? Come on.
I just want to say something about our 77 batch. generally about batch myths. The thing is, when a man usually gets something like a Nobel Prize or becomes a president or becomes a great general, everybody heaps praises on him and everything, but to his wife or his spouse, he's still the same old fart. That's the way batchmates are for us. Even though they become whatever they are in their field, for us, they're still like fatso, goofy, or some nickname like that. But we've had our share of distinguished alumni in the club over here. A couple of them are here already. And we have contributed for projects like a wing in the Himalaya mess, and currently funding the cyclotron project. But I don't know whether the Swiss lab has beaten us to it now already. I don't know what they're planning with the cyclotron project, but hopefully it'll be complete. And hopefully these kind of things will continue in the future too with our batch. And we hope to stay connected as an alumni with the Institute and its other research developments. Thanks.
One quick announcement. There is an IIT Madras coffee table book. I don't know how many of you have seen it. It's beautiful. It has a lot of excerpts from Campus Times. You can pick up copies of the book outside. They are for sale. I think they're like 1,300 rupees special price today. Usually they are 1,500 rupees. So do take a look and pick up one. Also, the Heritage Center is open. It's in the ground floor of the administration building. So when you have time, just take a stroll through the Heritage Center. I think you'll like it. Thank you.
Can I have the 72 batch on stage, please?
May I ask everyone to take their seats, please? We have one more panel and then the director's address to follow. Please take your seats so that we can try to get back on schedule. Thank you.
Moving on to the second panel discussion on values learnt at IIT Madras, I would like to invite Professor L.S. Ganesh on stage, our esteemed Dean of Students and the moderator for this panel discussion. I request the panel members to kindly come on stage. Professor Sri Vardhan, Distinguished Teaching Fellow in School of Business at Maryland. Rajat Mukherjee, 87 batch, Vice President, Product Management, Lexity. Dr. P. Balasubramaniam, batch 71 and 73, Founder and CEO, Themework Analytics Limited, Bangalore. V. Shankar, 81 batch, MD, CAM Financial Services, Chennai. Professor Devdas Menon, 1980 batch, Department of Civil Engineering, IIT Madras.